Every advancement in my career, I sent letters to all the CEOs that I met with. You know how many letters I got back? Tons. I have the most beautiful, heartfelt scrapbook you could ever have. And I'd gone from this kid who was a loser lawyer, having this incredible job at Sun America, working for one of the most successful business people on the planet, to now having a shift in how these people thought about me. Oh yeah, I remember that kid, and holy shit, look at what he did.
Welcome to another episode of the A1 Experience. I have the pleasure and the opportunity to share this space with somebody that I just met, that I just learned about, and I can tell you that I'm super pumped and excited to introduce him. So Randy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm honored, man. I'm honored to share this space. So if you guys don't know Randy, Randy Kaplan is a serial entrepreneur who co-founded a $3 billion company, Akamai Technologies. Hopefully I'm not butchering that.
Yeah, but it's 19 billion just to be safe.
19 billion. All right.
Give or take 16 billion.
That's just a little bit of a difference. And founded many other companies related to funding startups, a real estate company, and one particularly related to beaches. He's a philanthropist, a photographer, and the podcast host of the In Search of Excellence podcast. Randy, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
I'm honored. So, my first question for you, Randy, is you founded and co-founded several companies, and I'm sure it wasn't always that way. I'd love to hear about how you progressed into the man that you are today. Like how did you get started to where you're at today?
Yeah, it started just as a young kid, being bullied and having the drive to succeed, and growing up with a single mom who struggled when I was younger, and I didn't like being bullied, I didn't like being poor, and I had the gene for business. And I wanted to have my own company one day, and I saw some people in college when I was a freshman at University of Michigan, greatest school on earth, as I'm sure you know, and they were selling T-shirts. So I said, hey, how do you do that? And they told me how to do it. I took $400, actually $500 of my bar mitzvah money, went in the yellow pages because there was nothing online back then, and I got 100 shirts for $5 each. I'd go door to door in the dorms, and I went in every dorm, knocked on every door, got kicked out of every hallway in all 14 dorms at school. And I learned something very important, which I know is important to you as well, cold calling. Mm-hmm. And so if you can't cold call and you can't sell, I mean, everything we do in life is about selling. It's about selling yourself when you walk in the room. It's about selling a product. Life insurance, as you know, is a sold product. People don't wake up in the morning, hey, man, I need some life insurance. And so I got started, made some money that way. Did well in school. For me, school was a ticket to money at the end of the day. I went to Northwestern Law School after that, and I thought, gosh, I'm going to make $70,000 a year. This is going to be incredible. I can do anything I want with that money. And this was back in 1993, so 30 years ago, and that was a lot of money. And my goal was to save money and take a bet on myself. And then I had the worst start to a legal career you could ever have. Lost my job 5.5 weeks after moving to Los Angeles. I had $3,000 in the bank. Didn't know anyone there. There were layoffs in the legal profession. It was a downtime. And I was looking at waiting tables again, which I had done in school at Chi-Chi's part-time. And I got a job in a place called Costa Mesa, Orange County, which I knew nothing about. I never heard of Orange County. As crazy as that sounds, I would drive 52.5 miles on the 405 every day, 90 minutes or 90 minutes back with no traffic, leave at 5:30, coming home at 11 o'clock every night. Didn't like that very much, and went to the managing partner of the firm downtown and said, hey, I want to move downtown. He said, no, you got to move. And I said, I'm not moving. He said, well, you got to leave. So I had 3 jobs in 8 months, a world record coming out of law school, not the kind of world record that you want. And then right after that, I said, this is not for me. And my goal was I would save money, I'd bet on myself, start a company. By the time I'm 30, I want to have $1 million by the time I was 30. And certainly this was never going to happen. And it wasn't going to happen practicing law. So for me, law was make a little money, save money, learn, and then find something I wanted to do. So I had an idea that I want to work for the right-hand person as a successful CEO. So I wrote letters to over 300 CEOs in LA. Michael Eisner at Disney, which at the time had 100,000 employees, was worth $57 billion. I told people what I was going to do. Everyone laughed. So these people are never going to meet with you. You're crazy. And I think sometimes you got to trust your gut, and you got to tune out the haters, the doubters, And my gut told me, I'm going to try this. They weren't going to respond to a normal letter. Hey, Michael, it's Randy. Will you please meet with me? So that wasn't going to happen. So I wrote very detailed letters. They were tabbed, well-researched, and research is everything. We can talk about something I call extreme preparation, which has been the hallmark of my career, preparing in a way that no one else has ever done before. My letter showed that. I got 80 meetings, and ultimately
300, you landed 80 meetings.
yeah, and people said I wouldn't get one. I mean, these were all big-time CEOs, the head of every studio in Los Angeles, TriStar, Columbia, Sony, and everyone said they had never taken a meeting through a cold letter before, and this was the best letter they had ever seen, and that was the goal. And my goal today is when I have meetings or doing a sales pitch is to be the most prepared person who ever walked in the room. And that's what I coach, that's what I teach, and it works. People respond to the preparation. So I ended up working for Sun America. Eli Broad was my boss, real estate guy. One of only 3 people at the time who started 2 Fortune 500 companies. And that was my ticket to the big jump in my career. I'd gone from a terrible, pretty much a loser lawyer to having the best job at age 27. I got that job on my 27th birthday. Wow. And I was working for one of the most successful business people on the planet. I stayed for 3 years, and then I met some guys who had an idea to revolutionize the way that information was set on the net. 100% uptime. Back then, companies had their own server farms, which today seems crazy. Today, things are in the cloud. Right. But if you had told people that way back then, people would have laughed at you. And I stayed there for 3 years, met these guys, left to start a company in Boston, Akamai Technologies. We revolutionized the way that traffic was served on the web. And again, people thought I was nuts. I left $2 million of unvested stock options on the table when I left. I was 30 years old, getting married, paying for our own wedding, commuted to Boston every week, leaving at 4 o'clock on a Sunday, coming back on Thursday, and working crazy hours. And no funding, no customers, no CEO, but I did it. Anyway, I believed in what we were doing. I had read all these periodicals in newspapers. Tech is going crazy, and I thought, maybe I'll go back and get my business degree, my master's, and I thought, that isn't going to work. It costs money. I want to keep doing this. So I left, and we started a company that 468 days after we started the company, we went public, and when stock closed on its first day of trading, our company was worth $14.4 billion. And that was 6 years to the day that I was fired from my job, and I had $3,000 in the bank.
Right.
And stayed at the company, and then started a family office. So I started my venture capital firm, Jump Investors. We've invested in over 90 portfolio companies over the last 25 years now. We were in Google, Seagate, Lyft, and we've had, I think, $8 billion exits in our venture portfolio. And I have a real estate company called Thrive Properties, and then my main business, a company called Sandee, Sandee, and we have the world's largest beach resource for the $5 trillion a year beach tourism business. So we've cataloged over 100 categories of data for more than 100,000 beaches in 212 countries. Our trademark is Choose Your Beach. People will say to me, oh, what's your favorite beach? And my favorite beach is probably different than your favorite beach. So I've got 5 kids. I have young kids. We want food, bathroom, and a shower. And if you want volleyball, you can go on our site and check volleyball, surfing, swimming. We have 7 different types of sand, 7 different colors of sand. So we've created this amazing resource for people. Our traffic is going absolutely crazy right now. This year, month over month, we're up 78%. And my goal with this is to create a billion-dollar company. We have great investors. I invest a lot of my own money. I started a podcast 3 years ago, In Search of Excellence, which is designed to motivate and inspire us to be the best we can be. I didn't have there were no podcasts when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. So at Michigan, I have to find something stable to a telephone pole or a corporate, or someone's coming to the business school, and I wasn't in the business school. So I'd go there and try to hear them talk, and it always motivated me. I read a lot of business books. I said, gosh, this is great. And then I have a intern program. Each summer we have 36 interns every summer. It's become a thing. Our program's a thing now. It's very popular. We have 4,000 applications so far this summer. formal program, 12-week program, 8 to 6 every day. Don't be late, 8:01, we're going to have an early meeting. Don't pack up at 5:59. But it's life lessons. It's life-changing. My interns are awesome. I live for them. I love mentoring and coaching. And one of them said 8 years ago, I have speakers come in every week, guest speakers, all very successful from all walks of life. Athletes with $100 million contracts, venture capitalists who have just incredible track records, CEO of Dale Carnegie, who's actually one of my mentees. And the speaker program has been a hallmark of the program. It's probably the things that the interns love the most. And one of them said 8 years ago, you got to have a podcast, man. You're teaching these incredible lessons. They're life-changing. They change our lives. You mentor us. It's incredible. And my response was, which was brilliant, no one listens to podcasts. And so, obviously, like our venture portfolio, where 7 to 8 companies go to zero, you're wrong a lot. And I was obviously dead wrong about that. And then 3 years ago, I said, I'm just going to have my own podcast now. I'm going to do it. I want to motivate and inspire people. My goal is to positively influence the lives of over 100 million people. And I hope my podcast does that. I have a book coming out next year, Extreme Preparation, which will also dramatically change lives. I do a lot of paid coaching on that topic, and it's one of the key qualities that's allowed me to get to where I am today.
I've never read a book that the sole focus of it was extreme preparation, so that's interesting. I can't wait to have it.
Well, I'm excited for you to read it. I mean,
Yeah.
I want it to be a business Bible, and it sounds silly, but my coaching techniques and the book itself is going to change lives. Every single person I've coached has had incredible results. I coached a doctor in Grand Rapids. He reached out to me on Instagram around 14 months ago now. International violinist at 14 from Brazil. Went to Yale on a free ride, Harvard Medical School on a free ride, Tufts Pediatric Dentistry on a free ride, and reached out to me, DM me, and said, I'd like you to coach me. And the long and short of it is, he now has his own practice. He was making $540,000 a year in Grand Rapids. Nice living. Has started 3 small companies, and in the course of a year, his net worth is over $10 million, which he attributes directly to my coaching.
Wow.
So I'm excited to put him up on our website soon.
Yeah.
And we'd like more clients like that.
Yeah.
Insurance agents I coach as well. With incredible results. We had someone doing $50,000 a year in commissions this year. Last year he did $250,000, and this year he's going to do more than $500,000.
Doubling.
Just doubling. Extreme preparation works.
My question for you, and it's in regards to the name of your podcast. In your search of excellence, what have you found? I know it's kind of a vague question, but
There's really no point in doing something that you're really passionate about if you don't want to be the best at what you do. I think it's just that simple. I think you if you want to be average, be average. But if you want to be the best, try to be the best. And you got to put the work in. It's all about doing the work. If you don't do the work, great things are not going to happen. And a lot of people talk the talk. I'm working hard, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and it just doesn't work that way. And I hear all the time, oh, things are tough. Oh, I can't get a job. And it's if you do the work, you can get any job you want. And what I also teach and coach is anything is possible, and everybody is hiring. If you're that person who stands out, who sends a 3-page single-space tab letter with transcripts, letter of recommendation, tabs, spiral bound, which is what I did, and you earn your way into someone's office for a meeting, and you blow them off their chair, and that should always be your goal. Blow someone off their chair. You're going to get any job you want. You're going to get any sale you want as life insurance.
the first thing that came to mind as you answered that question was sometimes being the best at something. When I think of like Kobe Bryant, he talked about how there wasn't balance sometimes. Same with like Tom Brady. What is your take on the balancing of family or relationships and life as in your pursuit of being the best?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. Work-life balance. I've got 5 kids, and I'm home for dinner every single night. Now, I was very lucky. I made a lot of money when I was 33 years old, so I controlled my own schedule. And people think, oh gosh, you made a lot of money. You're going home at 5 o'clock, and that's the end of your day. I mean, my team knows that's not the end of my day. I've got 6 more hours to go, and I'm often, I'll eat dinner with them. I'll put them to bed. I'll read books with my young kids, and then around 8 o'clock, I'm going back down to my office and I'm working. And I work Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings. Still work 70 hours a week still. But I've never missed a school event. I've never missed my son's baseball games, and I'm not going to. I think over the last, since I've made money, maybe the last 25 years, I missed 5 events, none of them critical, because I really had to. I had to be somewhere. I had fiduciary duties, investors, and it was just non-avoidable. But that's a pretty good track record at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But in terms of, you look at people, you mentioned Tom Brady. So I went to a wedding in Baker's Bay, Bahamas. Tom is the best man at the wedding. A lot of the Patriots guys were there, Wes Walker, Danny Amendola, and they're whooping it up at night. I mean, it's crazy. People jumping in the pool, wasted, drunk. It was super fun, music blaring. They had the whole place to themselves, and Tom and Giselle left at 9 o'clock. Not drinking. This is off season. And
Off season.
Tom travels with a trainer. And early in the morning, I'm up. I'm taking walks. 7 a.m. He's out there with the trainer, running, throwing the football around. He's doing it during the day, stretching. He is the best. He's the GOAT. And I don't think there are a lot of other athletes who do that. Mm-hmm. So practice, practice, practice. You want to be as good as you can be. And if you want to be great, you just got to put in the work. And a lot of people talk the talk, and they really don't understand what doing the work actually means.
I got a question for you. This might be more of a, I guess, a selfish personal question that I want to know is, I am in the phase of my business where I'm the only owner of my insurance agency. And we're continuing to scale, and now I'm in this mode where it's like, all right, I want to diversify a little bit, but the idea of partnering up with other people so that way you can scale and grow and grow and grow is still kind of foreign to me. And I guess in doing what you do, especially funding businesses and things like that, there's a lot of that. So even when I watch Shark Tank, it's still like, well, how does that work? And but it's almost necessary to reach certain levels. I guess talk to me about that. What clicked for you and what made that so seamless to partner with so many people?
Yeah. Well, number one, it's not seamless. So choosing your partner is critical to your success of the business, because if you pick the wrong partner, there are structural impediments that will impede your success going forward. And sometimes you just can't do it, and you can't fix it. I mentor a lot of people. I coach people. People will call me, come in, college kids, people in their 20s or 30s. They both come in. We're going to start this company together and do what? And I always say, well, who does what? Who has the idea? Who's doing the work? And then you ask for the splits, equity splits. And that's a tough thing. They'll go, oh, we'll work it out. Well, you can't work it out later. You got to work it out now, because that's where fights happen. People get equity they shouldn't get. And then they ask me, whose idea, who's doing the work, who's going to give up their jobs, who's going to give up their income and devote all of this time as a founder. You can't create a company without being full-time. You've seen that on Shark Tank. It's true in real life. So picking your partner is essential. The man that I coach in Grand Rapids was going to open a practice with a partner. And I went through it with them. And I said, how well do you know the partner? I know him well. I said, you work with him? Oh, yeah, I work with him. Good guy, great guy. I said, all right, ever been to your house before? No. Wives ever met before? No. Ever traveled with a guy before? No. I said, you don't really know him that well, do you? And he said, I guess not, when you put it that way. Well, that's the way you have to put it. And ultimately, he wanted a partner because he wanted the psychological positive reinforcement of not going out on his own. And what you're talking about is something similar to that. And so when you talk about partnership, you're talking about VC. We're talking about two different things. So in the VC space, you put some money into a deal, and you are a passive investor. So that means you're not a partner. You are an investor. And you have absolutely no rights, no say. You're not steering the ship. You're watching the ship go by. You're going to get a report, hopefully, each year, each month, whatever the case may be, and you're going to hear how the company is doing. If you're a good investor, value add, which is what we love, making connections, giving advice, that's great. Having another partner, an active partner, is a whole different proposition, right? And I know so many partnerships that just blow up. It's a great idea. Being friends with somebody is different than working with them. Mm-hmm. Right? People just have a different mindset at work. Sometimes it works. I've seen it work beautifully. I've seen it actually work absolutely terribly, where they go into business, they blow up, they end up hating each other. Mm-hmm. Best friends.
Right.
And so you got to really pick your partner well, and not to dehumanize the process, but you have to do due diligence on the people you're going into business with.
Of course.
100%. And it's something people really don't spend enough time on.
I want to know why you created the Julia Eater?
Yeah, Eater Scholarship Fund.
Dean Scholarship.
Yeah, my grandmother, who was my hero, died last year, 104 years old, was raised in foster care. And at one point, she told me on her 85th birthday that one of her biggest regrets is not being able to go to college. She dropped out of college or high school at 16. She gave me her report cards a year before from 1936. They were in pencil, and she had all A's, straight A's.
Wow.
And then, unfortunately, she did this sleeping in closets, broom closets, being basically the housekeeper. A lot of foster care parents, I think there's some amazing one. Most are, and I think it's incredible what they do. But some foster families do it because they get paid every month. And back in the day, there was a lot less regulation than there is today. So a lot of them really treated my grandmother very, very poorly. So I created a scholarship for a foster care student at Michigan to really change someone's life. And I called the University of Michigan, where I was on the board, talked to the development people, and of course, they bent over backwards to help you fund and do what you want. And I said, I wanted to do this. I said, well, it's not possible. Why? Foster carers don't self-identify applying, and they can't afford the $100 fee, application fee. I said, well, you're going to waive the fee, right? Oh yeah, we'll raise the fee. And she said, how long, how are you going to do this? I said, let me take care of the rest. So you just went online to Google. I found out 2 nonprofit who help foster care kids in the state of Michigan. I told them what I want to do. And they said, God, it's so amazing. So they sent out, I think, 7,000 letters to foster care students in the state. 2 applied, 1 got it. Cherish Thomas, she's living in her car in East Lansing, Michigan. And the rest is kind of history. She graduated. Is really not really. She is a member of the family. Was tight with my grandmother. She's a social worker, motivational speaker, mother, homeowner, wife. Just a phenomenal story. And it's people say, "Oh, what's the most successful thing you've ever done?" It's really giving back. Because you can make money. I've made a good sum of money, and I've lost a good sum of money in the VC business. That's how it works. You make some good investments. You make some that are really bad in the venture space.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot more bad than a lot more good. That's for sure. That's just the nature of the beast.
You just need the few that do good to do more good.
Right. I mean, the venture capital space is a weighted average game. But I want to change lives, and I am an underdog, and I root for the underdog. I've made a great career out of my life, and I have a beautiful family, beautiful wife, beautiful kids. I'm grateful. There isn't a day that goes by where I drive into my home. We have a gate. That's just the kind of neighborhood that we live in. And I drive up my driveway. I see my beautiful house. There isn't a day that I'm not grateful, and I don't feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world, and I never forgot where I came from.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
I have 5 kids, twin girls in college. They're 22.
Wow.
One goes to Wisconsin, one goes to Cornell. My son, Charlie, is a sophomore at college at Menlo College. Entrepreneur. Definitely got the gene. I'll be working for him one day. Then I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old as well.
Awesome.
4 girls and a boy.
4 girls and a boy. I have my first coming in July.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Boy or girl?
It's going to be a girl.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
The best thing you'll ever done. One of my friends told me something very profound. And yeah, you think about it, you can't wait for your kid, but he said, you don't know the meaning of life until you have your first child. And that was the understatement of the universe. And it just is, having kids, the most beautiful, wonderful, loving thing you can ever do in your life.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm naturally pretty driven, and I'm ready for that experience to just put something way higher than me, if that makes sense. Like puts, my family, my wife, and it's been a fun journey. So I'm excited for that next chapter.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah. So I love beaches. You love beaches so much that you decided to create this company. You talked about it a little bit earlier. But what is Sandee, and why did you create it?
Yeah, I think entrepreneurs, one of the things they try to solve is filling a need with a need. So most people who have gone to the beach have been disappointed in the beach that they visited. And it's especially true on vacation. So on vacation, most people ask the concierge what beach they should go to. We pulled over 1,000 concierges and we said, name the 3 closest beach and name 5 categories of information at those beach. You know what the results were? 0. And I've had experiences. The first one, I'm in college, don't really have money, traveled Europe on a Euro pass, sleeping on trains. Couldn't wait to get to Nice, right? South of France, it's sexy. As a kid, you think, oh, nude beaches are going to be great. We get there. It's with my boys, and we're all like, this is going to be great.
Not as cool as you visualized.
We're in a backpack, and, we had a towel, and that was it. And we get there, and it's a rocky beach. You can't lay out there. We couldn't. People were laying out with big towels, and it definitely was not as sexy as we thought it was going to be. And so that was the first one. Then I was in Greece with my wife, girlfriend at the time. It was our big trip. We went away after a month, and we're staying in a beautiful hotel where the concierge should know everything there is about all things there. And I said, we want to visit Black Sand Beach. So she whips out a paper map, unfolds it. I think it had 32 parts or whatever. And she takes a Sharpie and she circles a point on the map and said, I think there's one right there. And when you look at the lines on the map, there were no roads there. So I think there's an old barn here, and then the beach should be over here. So turn left at the barn house. So we leave. We're in a little Mini or Fiat convertible. I can't remember which kind of car. We drive out there. It's a 90-degree day. We figure we're going to get some water out there, lunch out there, 2-hour drive. And we get out there. There's no cell service, no Wi-Fi, no bathroom, no food, no nothing. And we get out there, and there was an old barn, dilapidated. There were 5 or 6 old barns. And we're thinking, oh, geez, this is crazy. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Taken with Liam Neeson, where someone goes to a foreign country, someone follows them, and then someone tries to basically kidnap and hold for ransom these people.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm a little paranoid here. I have a little bit of money, and I'm afraid. And I said, hey, Madison, we should probably go back. She said, oh, no. She's more adventurous than I am. She's younger than I am and wanting to be the good boyfriend. I said, oh, yeah, we'll go. And we found a little opening that looked like it had been a road. And there were weeds growing through it, and you could see some cars had gone through it before. And if you saw the movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner and the corn stalks taller than your head, and you can't see, that was pretty much what the weeds were. And so not only was this a road that had no cell service, now we're driving through weeds where someone kills you, basically. They're never going to find your body either. And so I'm really not psyched about this. And we drive through, the road is rickety, there's potholes. And then we see, finally, gets to this dirt parking lot that can maybe hold 5 or 6 cars. We open up this beautiful expanse of Black Sand Beach with basically shale cliffs. It was gorgeous. The water was blue, black sand, and I thought, gosh, that's the moment. There's got to be a better way. And I went back to the hotel room, beaches in Greece, Mykonos, and there were just a bunch of websites by local people that had almost no information. Now, that was 9 years ago now. And since then, people have definitely developed beach websites. There's a phenomenal website for Greek beaches, but there were none for the world. So I said, all right, entrepreneurs who create great, big, highly valued companies have to go after big opportunities. And so creating the world's largest beach database is very difficult to do. 400,000 hours, maybe 500,000, have gone into our database. We have the largest, most comprehensive beach database in the world. The company is called Sandee, Sandee. You can find any beach in the world there. We have 100 categories of data, and if you're going on a trip, you should go there. But not only does it serve the $5 trillion a year beach tourism business, but it also serves the $5 billion local visits to the beach. We live in Southern California. Everyone talks about Malibu. Malibu is a world travel destination, and Malibu only has 12,500 residents. The residents there, I don't know, a lot of them don't really like the outsiders coming, and they know everything about Malibu, right? No. So we asked them, how many beaches are there in Malibu? How many beaches do you think there are in Malibu?
I'd say probably less than 10.
Right. So the average guess is 12. There's actually 42 beaches in Malibu. I was like, wow, there's 42 beaches in Malibu. That's crazy. Really? Yeah, really. And a lot of them are different. They're all different. Different sizes, different lengths of beaches, different activities, different physical attributes, different parking lots, waves, everything, food, bathroom, shower, surfing. So that's what, and you tell people, and they say, wow, holy shit, I had no idea. I met with 8 ministers of tourism around the world. These are cabinet level positions in every country except the United States. I'm meeting with tourism ministers in countries where beach tourism is one of the largest components of GDP in their country. So we're talking about billions of dollars. The first question I ask them is, you know how many beaches you have? And do you know what their answer is? Same 4 words. Every time, same 4 words. I have no idea. and that's like the CEO of Marriott not knowing how many rooms they have in all their hotels.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So you found this huge problem.
Huge.
And you solve it with something you love.
You know what?
My mind wouldn't work that way though. Like I wouldn't. It's crazy how you dissected that and you're like, hold on, there's a problem here. Like on a romantic, vacation, and you figure out the solution to this problem.
Right. I mean, we've invested in nanotechnology companies. I mean, how exciting is it to talk about nanotechnology companies, right? People are like, oh gosh, okay, that's cool, whatever that means. But beaches.
Yeah.
Everyone loves beaches. The statistics show that 99% of people in the world love beaches. So it's so great to talk about it. When I tell people what we're doing, oh my God, I love that idea. I'm going to use your site. And that's perfect. That's why our traffic is growing 80% a month over month.
Yeah. And
we're going to create $1 billion company at Sandee. My team's super pumped. I'm pumped about it. And it's the next big thing that I'm going to do in my career.
Yeah. It's impossible to be in a bad mood at a beach, I've noticed. You can't be there and just not be happy.
You know what? with the sun beaming down on you, the melatonin in your skin makes you happy, right? Your skin is warm. It's just a great feeling. And the beach is my happy place. And it's a lot of people's happy place.
Yeah. It's definitely a goal of mine to have a beach house. So
you'll get there.
Yeah. So I think you alluded to it earlier, so I just have to ask, but what are your top 3 favorite beaches?
It's hard to say, and people say that El Matador Beach in Malibu, which looks like Thailand, has beautiful rock formations. That's my favorite beach.
What's it called?
El Matador Beach.
El Matador Beach, okay.
It's a phenomenal beach. It's great. It's dramatic. The cliffs are amazing. The beaches below these cliffs. It looks like Thailand or the Arch in Cabo San Lucas.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I'd say my next favorite beach is in Bora Bora, and there's a whole bunch of them there. But in French Polynesia, I love the Brando Hotel, and there's, I think, 60 rooms there, and the beach goes all around the property.
Okay.
Small island, and it's just so peaceful and tranquil, and the sand is super white and soft. And then I think the beaches in Santorini are also great. I would put the beach in Positano is one of the best beaches in the world. I have some amazing drone pictures from all these beaches, and there's too many to name, but I'd say those are top 3 or 4.
One of mine is Turks and Caicos, just that about water and sand combination.
Where did you go in Turks and Caicos?
I don't know exactly where. I stayed
Yeah.
at the 5-star. I think it's called 5-star
Okay.
hotel, and just that combination. Uh, it was just the sand was different. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
I recently went to Italy, so I was in Positano. That was awesome, and then I proposed in Santorini as well. So
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram. That
yeah,
was quite the dress that your fiance or girlfriend at the time, or
Yeah.
wife now. I mean, that
Yeah.
train she was wearing looked like it was 40 feet long. I
I
mean,
had a distractor, so
like
I
a
had
football field.
Yeah, I had to make her do this shoot to distract her from what I was getting ready to do. So
So
it
this was
worked
just a
out.
photo shoot that you were doing. You put on this dress, beautiful green dress.
Yeah.
That thing, I mean, 40 feet long train. I mean, that thing was like a parachute.
Yeah,
It's
it's
huge.
those big dress photo shoots. Somebody's like waving the dress to make it flowy, and I just messaged these guys on the side, and I was like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to or I'm going to propose during this." And so, thank God she didn't see it coming.
No idea.
No, yeah, she didn't see it coming. I mean, she thought I was going to propose in Hawaii, but I just didn't want to do it in Hawaii for some reason. So I just put it off. I had the ring, almost like over a year, but I was like, I got a vision of doing it in Santorini. It was supposed to be for a sunset. It was a little overcast that day, but we it worked out, right? It worked out. So
Amazing. Congratulations
I
again.
appreciate it. Thank you. Can you share any tools, resources, books, or mentors? And you talked about not having access to podcasts back then. I know
Yeah.
for me, I had Success CDs that I would, use from the Success magazines and play them. I would burn Tony Robbins CDs. Like,
Yeah.
what was that? How did you get the information, as you were learning, and what were those resources?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing was probably Business Week subscription when I was 14 years old. Took a econ class my sophomore year in high school. Don Corwin, who's I think the best teacher that I've had in my life, so you sit in the front row. I got a 99 in that class, which was phenomenal. I read Tony Robbins' Unlimited Power when I was a freshman at Michigan. That changed my life as well. Just the mental fortitude and ability just to be positive and focus on your goals and write them down. I had a mentor who's my former Little League baseball coach, David Page, who is probably the most well-respected lawyer and philanthropist in Detroit growing up, and he took an interest in me when I was younger. And then David Hermelin, who was a life insurance salesperson, was one of many mentors. Eli Broad was a mentor as well. Obviously, I worked with him for 3 years, but David Hermelin started as a life insurance agent. And I remember I wrote him a letter, flew to Detroit on the red eye, in the back of the plane. I don't sleep on planes, and wanted to meet him at 7 a.m. So I get there, I get off the plane, it's 4 a.m, obviously, have not slept, I'm in a suit and tie. I get to the deli where he is, and there's a line to go see him. I think, oh, this guy's like a mafia don. So I wait my turn, I go in there, sit down in the booth, and in my letters, I listed all the other people who I'd met with for credibility, just like we do the same thing at companies, just like I do the same thing with my podcast. I send cold emails, and I say, I've had Mike Tyson, Mark Cuban, Kevin O'Leary, Dana White, Sugar Sean O'Malley, some of the most famous people in the world, Sam Zell in the real estate business.
Mm-hmm.
And I got meetings. I sit down with David finally, and he said, okay, where are you from? You're from here? I said, yeah. Who's your mom? And I said, Linda Eater's my mom. Your mom's Linda Eater? I've been friends with her since the 5th grade. Why don't you have her call me and set this up? And I said, I'm here, aren't I? He looked at me and said, you are here. And he respected the fact I didn't ask my mom. And the thing is, I didn't need my mom. Mm. And you don't need parents or connections or previously existing relationships to get meetings with people or potential mentors who can change your life. So that's a lesson as well. People say, oh, make the introduction, earn the meeting, earn the mentorship. So I'm in this booth, David's there, and he said, so what are you doing in all these meetings? Are you asking for a job? And I said, no. And he said, why? And he said, do you understand how hard these jobs are to get? This is incredible. You're meeting with all these people. People never take a cold meeting. And he said, why not? And I replied, kind of feel bad, I'm already in there. I'm taking up their time. And he said, you're making a massive mistake. What's the mistake, David? He said, you have to ask for the order. He started as a life insurance agent. And like you and I talked about, you don't wake up in the morning, open your blinds and say, I need life insurance today, right? If you're calling somebody, you're cold calling probably, or it's a referral business, and you're educating someone and selling them a product. And the bell rang. I said, shit, you're right. I got to ask for the order. And so that changed my life. It changed the way I went around on how to find a job. I completed the first 2 or 3 steps, but I needed to get the most important step, which is closing. And it really helped everything that I did at that point going forward. He also told me something. He said, you're going to get one chance to meet with these people. You got to take advantage of that. You're never going to see them again. And I thought, in my head, I didn't say this to him. I said, David, man, I respect you more than anybody. You've built this amazing business. You're your own part of the Detroit Pistons. You are a great philanthropist. Became the U.S. ambassador to Norway. Was tight with President Clinton, who used to go to his house and stay at his house when he was in Detroit. I thought, in my mind, David, you're wrong. And I made a commitment to myself that I was going to stay in touch with these people that I met with. And I did. And it wasn't the only time that I met with these people. Every advancement in my career, I sent letters to all the CEOs that I met with. And every step along the way, I got the Sun America job, and I wrote everyone a letter on Sun America stationery with my managing director title. You know how many letters I got back? Tons. I have the most beautiful, heartfelt scrapbook you could ever have, from titans of business, heads of studios, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. Congratulations. I'd gone from this kid who was a loser lawyer having this incredible job at Sun America, working for one of the most successful business people on the planet, to now working, to now having a shift in how these people thought about me. Oh yeah, I remember that kid, and holy shit, look at what he did. Then I left. We started a technology company, and out came my letters again. I've left Sun America. Eli Broad, obviously, I mentioned his name. Oh, yeah, I know Randy Kaplan. I remember. Now you got your own technology company. Right out of the gate, your company's worth $20 million. Wow. Some of these guys, and they were all men, wrote, can I invest? And some of these people became close friends. Strauss Zelnick, amazing person, CEO of BMG at age 40, running Fox at age 30, JD MBA from Harvard, one of the nicest, most humble guys ever, someone that I want to model myself after in so many ways, gives tremendous mentor to so many people, as am I. But these relationships created tremendous value later on in my career, because we went to these people and I contacted them to set up meetings to test this crazy technology that was going to massively improve the performance of their online businesses and help them grow. So I got these meetings with all of these huge companies. We signed beta contracts with 10 of these companies. 7 came through me. And we signed these beta contracts before we went for funding. And as a result of those contracts, the amount of equity we got as founders was more than 5 times that it would have been without them. All other things being equal.
Wow. Let me ask you, when you're writing these letters, some people now could probably say it's the equivalent of sending an email or a DM on Instagram or something like
help
that,
me.
right?
God help me.
So were these handwritten letters? Were they typed letters? What did you do to make them stand out?
Yeah, everything. So my goal was to write a letter that nobody had ever seen before, nothing like it. And there was no Google back then. So there's a service called
GPT.
Lexis, yeah, no.
Type me a letter to this CEO who might be interested in this.
No, interns do ChatGPT letters to us, which we don't really like very much. And there are programs that you can check whether they are handwritten or not. And these programs don't always tell you the accuracy, but we can pretty much spot it on our own. So there's a service called LexisNexis. My law firm had a paid subscription, and I made a list of 300 CEOs, and I researched all of them. I printed out 5-inch stacks of newspaper clips, magazine clips on them, in my apartment. I had their names on top, and I wrote single-space 3-page letters that talked about every job they'd ever had in their career. And then I listed my aspirations. The letter started with a quote in big, bold, cursive letters on the front page that they had given at some point in their career with
That they had given.
that they had given.
Wow.
And it could have gone back 15 years, a quote they had given. The key to Disney is how we hire. Time magazine, I think it was, I forget the date, something in 1996. So you got Michael Eisner reading this letter, and then the letter had a plastic cover. It had tabs. So I had my single-space 3-page letter, my transcripts from Michigan and Northwestern Law School, separate tabs. It had letters of recommendation from David Page for law school, and then it had a newspaper clip on a Michigan Daily show that I had been in running a dating segment, one of 5 segments, one and done, but hey, this is still Michigan Daily newspaper clip, and it had a plastic cover, was tabbed, and was wrapped in one of those thin black plastic spiral binders. So it worked.
Yeah.
Each letter took over 5 hours to write, and remember, I'm working 70 hours a week at this law firm, right? I remember getting a call Friday afternoon. I got plans on the weekend, and the phone lights up. You can see the partner, and with Jack Hartman. Oh shit, do I answer that? It's gonna fucking ruin my weekend. And sure enough, you got to answer the phone. I mean, obviously I was going to. I was thinking, gosh, could I ever sneak out and they don't know? But wasn't going to do that, obviously. Just quick thought in my head. I go into the conference room, and yeah, I mean, it ruined my weekend. But you're working tons of hours, and I had a second full-time job. So like you said, you want to create new businesses, you got to keep the cash flow going, you got to pay for this, and you got to pay for the new businesses. Mm-hmm. I needed to keep food on the table, pay my apartment, pay my purple Lexus lease, the lease for my purple Lexus. It looked gray when I bought it at night, but when I got home, it was a little purple. And then, writing the letters. And, people talk about commitment, and they talk about how hard it is to start something else. And it's hard. I mean, Damon John was working at Red Lobster and cooking T-shirts in the kitchen with his mom for FUBU when he started his company. Mm-hmm. Damon was on my show. Great guy.
You got all the sharks.
Great entrepreneur. I got 3.
Yeah, awesome.
And Kendra Scott is coming on as well in May. She's part-time shark. She's building an amazing business. Super psyched to have her as well.
That's awesome. I like that you start the letters off with something that they said, because it's like tooting their horn. It's like
100%.
It's like, man,
100%.
It's like reading your own quote. It's like, man, that was some fire, like I spit some fire, like that was like that was me, and right. So
we just got one. I mean, this guy Miguel Perez sends me a Randy letter. It was like a month ago. I said, shit, that guy sent my own letter. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
And had a long conversation. He said, can I come out there for 15 minutes of your time? We read this letter in school. Clearly doesn't have a lot of money. Clearly it's going to cost them a ton of money. So I pick up the phone and I call him. I said, Miguel, what's up, my man? Love the letter. Pretty sick. Love what you did. You pulled a me. What are we going to talk about in 15 minutes? He said, well, let me come out and see you. I said, that's amazing. I know it's a lot of money for you. I said, I'm going to give you more than 15 minutes. I'm going to give you as much time as you want. So I'm now mentoring Miguel, and I'm going to fly he and his wife out here. I'm going to pay for it this summer, talk to my interns, and I'm going to coach him and mentoring him free of charge, of course, but I just loved it. I love the fact that he did it. My goal is to change his life.
That's incredible. So I have a question for you. I want to know, what was the toughest moment of your entrepreneurial journey, but within the last 10 years?
Yeah. Company called Urgent RX, which made powdered medicine, credit card size powdered medicine you keep in your wallet. And we had raised a lot of money for the company. I was a seed investor. I was chairman of the board for many, many years before Sam Zell introduced us to the CEO of the company that owned Mucinex, which I think was a public company. I think it had a $4 billion exit. He was much more experienced in the CPG business, consumer product business, than me. But we raised a lot of money for that company, $21 million. Had great investors that I brought into the company, including Sam. I was on the board. Company raised a lot of money. We had a CEO who had given us projections right on the eve of raising this last huge round at a pretty good valuation. Every board member went through those projections with the CEO and the head of biz dev, cell by cell. And we talked about the buyers at Walmart and Costco and talked about the probability of success. And you build relationships with buyers at these retailers, and then someone leaves. In one case, supposedly a buyer at Walmart died, so you have to start over. People dying is not part of your business plan,
Wow.
but it happens. And so right after we raised money, maybe a month later, we were in a board meeting, worst board meeting I've ever been in. We fly to Denver where the company was based, and projections were 80% lower. Board went fucking apeshit on the CEO. Would have fired him on the spot, but unfortunately, we had no one else there. So that company ultimately failed. And one other piece of advice that I want to give everybody out there is do your own due diligence, because one of the greatest mistakes people make in their career, don't rely on the due diligence of people, top venture firms in the world. You got to do your own. And in this case, we did our own due diligence. Sometimes it doesn't work, but you still have to do it. And there's one really important thing in this deal that as I look back and say, what else could we have done right? The CEO was ultimately sued for fraud. None of the board members were sued for fraud. We had a lot of money of our own in the company, right? So clearly we're not going to do anything wrong. And when this lawsuit hit by a investor, I think they lost $100,000, so not a lot of money, $150,000. They had called the CEO, and the CEO basically said, fuck off. I saw the lawsuit. I called them. I said, I see the lawsuit. They said, did he commit fraud? I said, we didn't see any fraud. Obviously, we would have fired the CEO if we saw fraud. They still sued him for fraud. There was a insurance payout, and that was how that ended. Of course, the CEO denied all liability, and that's not a good outcome for me, obviously. But
Right.
One thing that I found in the due diligence was one thing that I always like to do is I always like to get key man insurance for the CEO. So what that means is if something happens to the CEO, there's a life insurance payout, and I always like it to be in the amount of the round of funding that we're in.
Okay.
So, and it's cheap. Term life insurance is something like $600 per million for a young, healthy person, something like that. So if you're raising $5 million, you want to get a $5 million key man life insurance policy. And it's called key man, not key woman, but that's just the name of the policy.
Right.
And so that's what we did. And I required him to do this as a lead investor in the first round. And so my lawyer goes through and he does all this due diligence, and he finds that the life insurance policy, he did get one, but the beneficiary was his wife.
Oh, crap.
Oh, crap was right. So I'm thinking, what the fuck? So I called CEO. I said, what the fuck is this? And it's a mistake. No, you really can't make a mistake doing that. I just don't know how that's possible. This guy was a great salesperson, too good. At some point, you spend a lot of time with them. You trust that person. He put me in touch with the insurance agent that sold him the policy. He blamed it on the agent. And I'm thinking, is this agent going to put his career on the line for somebody? And again, you never know the relationship between two people. You never know. And I'm not saying this was the relationship, but that person could be his cousin, his wife's brother, different last name. But I called the insurance agent and I said, what's up with this? And he was very hesitant and ultimately said it was his mistake. I hung up the phone 50-50. Did I believe him or not, or did I not believe him? But that was a red flag. I talked to the board about it. We went through it and said, okay, this could be a mistake. But ultimately, looking back, knowing what I know about that CEO, I don't think that was a mistake at all. I think it's hard to make a mistake like that. But the message is, do your own due diligence. It's critical, and it is what it is.
Question I have for you is,
Just to be clear, in case he's watching this podcast, I never said, and I'm not saying he committed fraud. I'm saying he is a CEO that all of the board members said at the end of the day they would never fund him again. When we did due diligence, we found he put all these newspaper magazine pieces framed on him on the wall. His employees told us that he would eat in for lunch every day and dinners and charge it to the company. And these were all things that we heard later on. And of course, we didn't see any of this.
my question is, how often do you question your own ambition, and how do you overcome that? So, like, what I mean by that is how often do you take on more than you can chew, and then you're like, why am I doing this? And then how do you overcome that and then keep going in harmony with family and everything else? I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah. Well, let me make this perfectly clear. I never question my ambition.
okay,
Never. I was born with it. It's in my heart. It's in my blood. It's in my soul. It's part of my DNA. I do take on a lot. Sometimes it's taken more than I can chew. Right now, I'm running a lot of different things. I'm running Sandee, which is my main job. My real estate company, Thrive Properties, with my partner, John. I have this podcast, which takes up an amazing amount of time, which I love, and I love to give back. I'm writing a book called Extreme Preparation. I'm doing a lot of paid coaching now on extreme preparation, incredible results. DM me if you want some personal coaching. We could talk about that. And I'm about to go out and do some paid corporate speaking coaching as well. So I'm in the process of memorizing a 39-page speech for that on extreme preparation. And in the book I'm writing takes up a tremendous amount of time as well. So 70 hours a week minimum. And I'm very lucky. I have the best wife in the world, supports me in every single thing I do, no matter how crazy things seem. But I am 95% successful in not letting it affect my family life, which is more important to me than anything in the world.
Got it. Love it. All right. So I guess the last question I have for you is the definition of A1 is of the highest standards, of the highest qualities. And I just want to know, what are 3 standards that you live your life by and why?
Yeah, the first is work ethic. Beginning, almost the end. If you outwork everybody, if you're the first one in, the last one out, we call that philo, you're going to be successful no matter whatever you do in life. My girls, great students, they were working in high school till 11:30 every night. I'd go in there, and I thought it was mentally unhealthy. There's a lot of pressure, private school. They want to do well. They want to get into great colleges. But I said to them, guys, this is crazy. You guys need to go to sleep. And I just want them to, they were great students. They went to great schools. But I didn't really like them working in high school till 11:30 at night. I thought that was not healthy. I think mental health is something that today is a lot more at the forefront than it used to be. Mm-hmm. And I think mental health is equally important and more important than physical health. You're seeing today depression, anxiety among lots of kids. You're seeing suicides at all-time highs with highly functioning people that people don't know about. I want my kids, and I do a lot of coaching and mentoring on this too, to make sure you take care of your mental health. Mm-hmm. On the work ethic front, I told my girls that if you work this hard in real life, you're going to be CEO of whatever company that you work at by the time you're 35 years old. Or you're going to have a tremendous amount of responsibility. You'll be very successful building your own company. So work ethic is number one. Attitude. What's the most commonly asked question in the world?
Why?
How are you?
How are you? Okay.
How are you?
Good.
Really?
Yeah.
God, you're killing me, Nick. Fuck, no. Good?
That's what people say.
Good. Okay, well, what do you say? Okay, well, what do you say?
I say I'm incredible.
Incredible, right? So good is a 3.0.
Yes.
Who in life wants to be a 3.0? You can't be successful in life if you're a 3.0. Yeah. If you want to be mediocre, just do what everybody else does. All right, 3.0 is terrible. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty good. Having a good day. How about hanging in there? I could be better. Can't wait till I get off of work. Yeah. Just the amount. And I'm putting all these in my book. because I think people don't even realize it.
Yeah.
It's so easy. This is one that just starts off the day, starts off any meeting, anybody, every social encounter. I'm great. I'm phenomenal. I'm incredible. I couldn't be better. And even if you're feeling like shit, nobody fucking cares. At the end of the day, I think you should tell your family and friends how you care. I think it's really important. But you meet someone, you're at a store buying something, or checking into a hotel. I mean, hotel people are in the customer service business, right? You're selling life insurance. You can tell someone, oh, you set up this meeting, nice to meet you, Matt Hickerson, this is great. Hey, Matt, you're selling life insurance, and Matt asks you, Nick, how are you? I'm okay. What? You're okay. Why am I here? So attitude is everything. And then I think probably the third, there are so many, but I think the importance of listening. I think you can't be a successful leader if you don't listen. Listen to your employees. Encourage an environment, by the way, that fosters discussion. Eli Broad was one of the most brilliant people I've ever met in my life. We could build a 100-page spreadsheet with tabs and everything, and we spent a week on this thing, and he'd look at it and he'd say, right there, 30th tab, there's a mistake in that cell right there. We said, oh shit, man, how do we miss that? And what was great about Eli Broad in that environment and being there is he liked discussion. And a lot of people would be intimidated. Oh, God, Eli Broad built 2 Fortune 500 companies. But he encouraged discussion. He liked people disagreeing with him and challenging him. And I know with my interns, they're very intimidated when they come in. It's kind of boot camp, and first day or two, even first 2 weeks, holy shit, what did I get myself into? But I think being a good listener, not a good listener, a great listener, is important to anyone's growth, ability to adapt, ability to change where you need to change and pivot, and help foster creativity, success, innovation, and productivity. Don't have tunnel vision. Don't think you're always right.
Yeah.
It's one thing, by the way, to be able to stand alone and have the courage to stand alone and have a difference of opinion than anybody else. And sometimes my team will tell me, Randy, you're 100% wrong. And I'll say, guys, Emma, I appreciate what you're telling me. We're still going to go this way. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But ultimately, as a CEO of the company, the decisions rest with me. And if we're right, we're right. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. I think it's also important to admit you're wrong. And I do. And I tell my team, and they're very frustrated. We spent a month on this, and look what you did. And I said, yeah, I did it. I take responsibility for it as well.
Yeah.
And I think you have to.
Yeah. I love it. So work ethic, attitude, and listening. All right. Well, Randy, before we end here, I just want to acknowledge you just for sharing the space with me. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. I have some. I'm gonna have to rewatch this a couple times, take notes, and implement.
Let's do some coaching.
Yeah, I'm for it. I'm for it. I just want to acknowledge you just for your giving spirit, the philanthropy work that you're doing for the community, the way you're giving back to entrepreneurs.
Thank you.
And people that were just like you, as well as people that were just like your grandmother, as far as the school is concerned and education. So thank you for that. And if my audience wants to find you, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, on Instagram at Randall Kaplan, at In Search of Excellence. You can find me on LinkedIn. And you can find me at Randall at Jump Investors or Randall at Sandee.com. Sandee. I hope you check out my podcast, In Search of Excellence. I hope you go to our beaches website, Sandee. And when my book comes out, hope you will buy my book and tell everyone if you think it's awesome. And if you want some personal, awesome coaching with great results, please send me a DM as well.
Thank you so much. So, Randy, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.